We are halfway through the NFC. Let's go NFC East here, starting with the Cowboys. Do you like watching the Cowboys on primetime? Well, get ready. They've got 900 primetime games. Where's their over-under here? Nothing's in order. They're at 7.5. Just 7.5 over-under for the Cowboys. Cynthia has them slightly under here, by the way, at 7.2 wins. Thoughts on the Cowboys and where they're going to be this year?
Yeah, pretty fascinating. I mean, them being in prime time constantly it's just the America's team, Dallas Cowboys, their ratings. I mean, they are. Everyone hates that, but it's the same way we hate the shouty shows, right? It works. Like, you can't criticize the game. What they do is ratings. Stephen A. Smith earns millions of dollars because his obnoxious approach to everything sells. People watch it, and I hate that, but I can't deny it. Like, it works. The Dallas Cowboys, you might hate them, but you're watching. You might watch them just to see them get their ass kicked by somebody, but you are watching that game in a way you can't necessarily say about other teams. So that's why they are in primetime a lot. But what we're looking at with these win projections is the league, or everyone kind of says, look, this Dallas Cowboys team is not going in a good direction right now. They put themselves in a tough spot with these contracts. They have overpaid Dak Prescott. It is becoming pretty clear that that's the case now with each subsequent quarterback contract that gets done. Dak Prescott is not Josh Allen or, Patrick Mahomes or one of these other quarterbacks that is capable of invariably elevating every single situation he is in. He is more dependent on outside help than that. And the outside help isn't as good as it was earlier in his career. So the Dallas Cowboys are not as good as they were when they were winning 12 games every single year. And I can see them repeating the mess from a year ago.
I think it was the Eagles a couple years ago had that stretch where they were playing all the best teams in the league. They played Buffalo and Kansas City and everything all in a row. The Cowboys, starting in week 12, they're home against the Eagles on a Sunday. They have a Thanksgiving game against the Chiefs 3 days later. Then they're at Detroit the next Thursday. So they get the Thursday back-to-back games. And then they're home against Minnesota. And look, whatever you want to think about Minnesota, they did have 14 wins last year. So that is at least a 3-game stretch. Eagles, Chiefs, and Lions, three of the best teams in the NFL over the last few years, pretty consistently there. Tough stretch here for the Cowboys. And so I always use the Cowboys as the example of what the offseason felt like, and maybe we overrated it or underrated it, whatever it was. The year that I remember, I think I overrated it. They were one of the best teams. They didn't feel like they added much, but they had such a good offense, most people coming back. They still had a very good defense, and they were the same team. What's different this year, though? Dak's coming off injury, fine. But I think the offensive line still has more question marks than it's had in years. Brian Schottenheimer is a first-time head coach. That matters. And we don't know. I mean, it's not a cop-out to say we don't really know how good of a head coach someone's going to be. People ask us all the time, who do you think is a great head coach candidate? Like, I don't really know unless I'm sitting there talking, interviewing, figuring out what this guy's going to actually do as a coach and a leader. But we've seen the new head coach thing go all over the place. Nathaniel Hackett looked overwhelmed by week 1 and was basically out of the job by week 2, right? Could go that way for Shoddy. Could be great. What if he's secretly great? Like, I don't know. Maybe he's a secret, incredible motivator. And I've brought up the point that he's been the QB coach or OC for Russell Wilson and Dak Prescott's best seasons. Maybe Shoddy's incredible. I think that's the biggest wild card in Dallas's offseason. There's some personnel wild cards, but I think Brian Schottenheimer, first-time head coach, is a big unknown here.
Yeah, true. And look, it is true for every NFL head coach, right? We don't know how good they're going to be as head coaches. Which is not, I think, to say that all data we know about them previously is irrelevant. It's kind of like the draft, right? The strike rate generally in the draft is bad, which is not to say we know nothing. Like, those are not the same, right? Just because the strike rate in the draft is bad does not mean the entire order. You might as well literally just roll a dice or throw a dart at a random list of 500 players, and that's as good as your actual scouting process. There is substance. We have knowledge. We know things, and we can roughly order these guys the way we think they should be ordered. That order won't be correct, but it will be better than a randomized order. That's the same as head coaching candidates. Like, we can look at all these things that we think are important, X's and O's, like talk to them in an interview, see the impact he's had on players. All these things are important, which doesn't mean it's going to work out and that guy, but it's probably better than just like, give me any random stooge and put him in the job. And that's going to be as good as I would do with a hiring process. So all that's to say that Schottenheimer was nobody's number one candidate except Dallas, apparently. And there's probably signal to that. Now, he might end up being a good head coach, but the current data does not say that that's the most likely outcome.
Where do you want to go? Over under 7.5 here for the Cowboys?
I'm going to go under. I can see this being another rough year for Dallas.
I'll go over for the Cowboys. Dak will play. He's good. They'll be somewhat back on track, but not as good as the last couple of McCarthy years with healthy Dak, we'll say.
And we have the fascinating watch for George Pickens and whether he's able to keep it together over a season.
Thanks for watching all the way to the end of our video.
For more great content, click here to subscribe and here to watch another video. We'll see you again soon.